And here we go.
Purdue knocks off the second-ranked team in the country.
Great entry, Tanjay.
40 for Tanjay.
3.6 to go in Charleston. Berzovic for the win. Got it!
Hello, friends. Welcome back into the D1 and Done pod. This episode brought to you by the official Mountain West correspondent, SEC correspondent, and benefactors of the pod, the Hagen Hall Boys. Make sure you follow us on our social media pages. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We also have a YouTube page, youtube.com/D1 and Done pod. All of our episodes are uploaded there. If you'd rather listen to us on our YouTube page, you can also email us. It's d1anddonepod@gmail.com. Make sure you leave a review and rate us 5 stars across all of our podcast platforms. You can also be directly involved with the show and have your voice featured on our podcast via our Speakpipe. It is speakpipe.com/D1anddonepod. And at the end of the show, we will actually have a viewer question from our Speakpipe. So make sure you get excited for that. We will look forward to having a good friend of the pod on with his viewer question. I am Robbie Donahoe. Dialed in remotely is Dusty Mills and Nick Mills. Dusty is the reason why this podcast even exists. He played his college basketball at Kentucky and Ball State. Again, the first true D1 and Done, and also the first, from what we know historically, is the only college basketball player in the history to be kicked off of 2 Division I men's college basketball programs. He actually has a sign in his front yard that says, "Lives here is the only person that's been kicked off by 2 Division I men's college basketball programs." That sign's actually there. I bought it for him. It's in his yard right now. He actually doesn't know about it. Surprise. Anyway, what a fantastic last couple days of college hoops, guys. I know everyone wants to talk about football, but guys, we're a college hoops pod, and that's what we love. So we had a great Friday, great slate of hoops there, some monster upsets. Man, how about the weekend from the Big Ten, getting some big-time victories? And then we're going to talk about who the heck should be the number 1 team in the nation. It is all over the place. And then we have plenty of other storylines to get to. But let's start off with our good pal, Dusty. Dusty, where do you want to begin on this beautiful Monday of all Mondays?
My apologies to our boy Braden.
Whoa. Just right off the bat, just starting with an apology to the preseason player of the year, Braden Smith.
Yes, not my preseason player of the year, but he has done nothing. I'm shell shocked. How's that?
Yeah,
that's shell shocked. Purdue's where they're at because of him, and as of right now, he's the player of the year. How's that?
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, he has been amazing to watch. The Alabama game, he didn't put up one of those triple-double numbers by any means, but he was fantastic. And the way that he controls the floor, controls the tempo of that team, he's a just absolute game changer. So that's kind of my storyline right now is Braden Smith is just a baller. And I couldn't have been proved wrong any quicker by him.
Well, that's a good opportunity to roll into talking about the Boilermakers win over Alabama. Arguably the best win of the weekend as they defeat the Crimson Tide 87-78. You can talk about all sorts of things from that game. C.J. Cox with those 3 straight three-pointers was incredible. I think the biggest stat that stands out from that game, and I'll even talk about this because this is my top story as well, Purdue had 3 turnovers the whole game. 3. That's it. I don't think I've ever watched a team be so meticulous with taking care of the basketball, and because I think 2 of those 3 turnovers were dead ball turnovers, like charging fouls, I think. So technically, it was only 1 turnover, I think, which is even crazier to think about. So it's shocking. Like that is one of the best Purdue performances I've seen in a long, long time, and it's not because last year's game against Tennessee and going to the Final Four was awesome. It's where this team was, kind of the position they're in right now, and Nick, you can probably speak to it a little bit more as well, is I felt like going, and that's why I kind of expressed my worries last week, was I don't know how good this team can be, but man, I don't know if it was because it was Mackey Arena or it was just because this team finally realized how important it was to be physical and show up, but I mean, they looked like a completely different team last Friday.
Yeah, three things. First of all, I'm disappointed, Dusty. In the take game, you can't already apologize.
No, walk it back. Yeah. Walk it back, baby. I'm here for it.
4 games in, but you know what? Like to Dusty's point, he's been unreal, and also too, shout out Trey Kaufman-Renn in that game. Unbelievable.
My wife likes calling him Big Booty Judy now.
Big Booty Judy.
Yeah,
your wife says that. That's about what another man.
Yeah. She does.
Okay.
She loves
That's
TK.
awesome.
So it's Big Booty Judy. We're playing some booty ball.
So the two other things I want to say. Second of all, I didn't get to watch the game live. I watched the highlights later on because again I was at a bar, and again, shout out college basketball. This game's only available on Peacock.
Peacock, man.
So it's nowhere to be found. So I was able to watch the Tyson fight. So woohoo!
Hey,
I watch that BS, whatever you want to call it. So that was my Friday night. But yeah, the third thing I want to say is the numbers for Purdue, Robbie. Like you already mentioned, 3 turnovers. That's insane.
Shocking.
They only had 8. It's like 11 total turnovers in a basketball game.
It was a very well played basketball game both ways. Yeah.
And then the other 2 numbers I'll throw at you for Purdue: 39, as in 39 straight regular season non-conference wins for Purdue. Which Robbie, I guess I forgot to look this up. You know who the last one would have been to?
Holy smokes!
We're going on what, like the Jane Ivey year?
I will look it up as you're talking about it, but I legitimately do not remember.
I think it'd be like Jane Ivey's last year, and then the other number is 21. That's how many straight home games Purdue's won. And looking at their home schedule, Robbie, again, you play 10 Big Ten home games. It's a pretty tough schedule. Like, I mean, there's a real chance Purdue's going to maybe not lose a home game again this year. So, again, Robbie, probably maybe not the best one that anyone's had this year, because I still think Auburn at Houston is such an unreal win. But again, Robbie, I don't know if we all had Bama as number 1. If not, we either had them 1, 2, 3, whatever, to get that win. I know Bama's struggling, and yeah, Robbie, just awesome win for Purdue, and Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Renn. And you mentioned CJ Cox. Did he go to the highlights to see me? Did he go to 8-0 personal run at one point?
A personal 9-0 run. It was in a span of a minute 30 seconds. He had 3 straight threes.
Yeah, because it's unbelievable what to do, and Matt Painter does it again. 4 games without Zach Edey, and they're just rolling right along.
So the last non-conference home game that Purdue lost was November 9th, 2019, when they had Texas at home, and they lost. That's the last time. They haven't lost at home in 5 years in the non-conference. That's
insane.
It's incredible. Now, again, that's also a product of the fact that they, people, non-conference home games, you don't always play the toughest slate, but this was also a stretch where Purdue played a couple ranked teams in like the ACC Big Ten Challenge at home. They've had some other really good matchups as well during that time. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's been 5 years now. Fortunately, they don't have to play Marquette at home coming up this week, because I think I'm going to be very nervous for that game. Now, Purdue does have a non-conference winning streak on the line overall. That is going to be on the line coming up Tuesday night when they go to Marquette. So that's going to be a tough streak to continue.
That's what talk about. That 39 straight non-conference wins.
Oh, 39 straight non-conference wins. Yeah, so I believe the last one they lost to. So that was the last home non-conference loss they had.
Gotcha.
But the last non-conference loss they had, it was at Miami on December 8th, 2020.
So
that was Zach Edey's freshman year.
Wow.
Crazy. And what's crazy?
By the way,
that's nuts.
In those 39 wins, I have it right here. Whereas 8 of the having come against the top 11, 6 against the top 7.
Yeah.
So, to your point, they've beaten some good teams too. So again, Matt Painter, it's amazing. Like, do you remember the 2013-14 range? There's like that buzz, like maybe Painter, maybe it's time to move on, and now here we are decades later, one of the best in the sport.
People forget quickly that there was a stretch in the year 2010-2011 where he was rumored to be taking the Missouri job, and there was a time there was a big stretch of time there where there were many Purdue fans that were concerned that he was taking that job. He fortunately was using it more as leverage going forward. And he's kind of been on record saying he never really thought he was going to take that job, but he did use it as leverage to get a better contract and to be in a better position in West Lafayette. But yeah, from here on out, I mean, Purdue right now showing the rest of college basketball that they have a program that's going to be here till the end. And I was not expecting to start off as this being the let's glaze Purdue part of the podcast, but it is turned into that because as I mentioned last pod, I was gravely concerned that Purdue was going to struggle in this game against Alabama. And now they did struggle at times. They got down by 6 in that second half with about 10 minutes to go, and then that C.J. Cox 9-0 run put it away. But and last thing I'll say, was that more of Purdue being great, or was that a product of the fact that they were playing at Mackey Arena? What do you guys think?
Or how much has Bama's early season struggles too?
Also, true. Yeah, they struggle to shoot from three in first 4 games of the year. Yeah.
What do you think, Brad?
Do you guys want to know the longest men's D1 home court win streaks of all time?
Cameron Indoor's got to be on there, right, with Duke?
Kentucky is number 1, right?
Yeah, Kentucky's number 1. This was not supposed to turn into a Kentucky thing. I was just looking it up.
It's okay.
That's serious. I was not.
Purdue and Kentucky right off the bat, boys. Good job. Good job, everyone.
Play the hits, DJ.
Number 2, Bonaventure, if we can turn that. They
Whoa.
to end that.
The Bonnies.
How 99 straight, and then Niagara upset them. Or for all I know, they did upset them. They just beat them.
Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
I think
that was good.
Kentucky won 129 straight, which is ridiculous to think of, and not even non-conference. This is just home games.
That was that Adolph Rupp years, I assume.
Yeah, 43 to 55.
Yeah, there you go. 12 years. That's crazy.
Gonzaga just had one of 76 straight until 2023, which I did not know either.
Jeez, wow.
Who did?
Gonzaga.
Oh, I didn't realize that either.
My number 1 team.
Yeah, it was St. Mary's put him out, I think. That was the one who ended that streak, I think.
Loyola Marymount, actually.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. That was that crazy game where Loyola, hit a couple threes down the stretch and won that game. Yeah.
Yeah. So
love that. Great stat.
Answer your question. I mean, Alabama seems out of sorts for some reason, which I don't get. You would think a veteran team would come into an environment like that. I mean, Purdue's home court advantage for anyone that's never been there. I haven't been to Mackey in, 15 years, but that place is always just hyped as hell. It's just a fun environment. I think it can be intimidating. So I would say Bama, for some reason, does not seem like the team that we thought it was going to be. But again, it's November 18th, so they have plenty of time to get together. But Purdue they have a flow with them. And what Painter has built there over the last, I'd say, 8-9 years, it's just been fun to watch. And they are intimidating to play.
And in the way they're doing it, too, again, in this age of college basketball, is roster turnover every year, like Bama, for a good example. I mean, Robbie, look at Purdue. You have 2 starting guards, 3-year stars together. Trey Kaufman-Renn stayed around. Caleb Thurston stayed around. Like, you're like kind of one program still doing this in a traditional setting, too.
And it's, again, and Matt Painter will be the first to admit it, and I think he actually said it in an interview like 2 weeks ago that's kind of starting to go a little viral, is he stopped recruiting players based on stars. He's recruiting players that he wants and thinks is a good fit for his program. That's exactly what C.J. Cox is, Jakari Harris is, Miles Colvin has turned into that. I mean, this is a team that, and I said it during the pod, during one of our summer pods last year, I think, was this team is not going anywhere even when Zach Edey leaves. And I got to be honest, after the first 3 games, I was a little concerned that I was going to have to eat my words on that. But Friday night proved this team is not going anywhere, and they're going to be right there till the end. And as you mentioned, let's turn it. We'll mention real quick with Alabama. Let's not worry about Bama. Okay, I know they're off to a slow start, but when they got. As much as we are talking great about Purdue, Alabama got some great looks from 3, and they just were not making them. So if I'm a Crimson Tide fan, I'm not concerned. And LeBaron Filan is one of the best freshman guards in the country. He was a flamethrower in that game. So to get a freshman to go into that environment and score 18, Bama's going to be fine. They just kind of got to work their way into it. Let's remind everyone, they were a 4 seed last year. Okay, this is not a world-beating team.
Yeah.
So
to your point, Robbie, last 3 games from 3. 26 of 94, which is 28%.
Ugh.
You have to imagine that's not going to continue all year.
No, it won't. They're too good of a shooting team for that to continue. I mean, I will be honest, Rylan Griffin was probably their best shooter next to Mark Sears last year, and he's now at Kansas. So that's the only thing I'm slightly concerned is he kind of overinflated how good of a shooting team they were last year. Now, Grant Nelson is a much better shooter. Jaron Stevenson was really good towards the end of last year. So, again, pump the brakes on Alabama. There's no reason to lose your mind and get scared, but that was a bit jarring how poorly they continue to shoot from three. Another result that if you look on the box score is jarring. Nick, how on earth did Wisconsin score 103 points in a game of basketball? What just happened?
Robbie, so yeah, computer see Wisconsin upset Arizona 103-88 and kind of controlled the whole basketball game, by the way.
They did.
But yes, there's so many jarring things about this. First of all, like again, a Greg Gard Wisconsin Badgers team scored 103 points. The Wisconsin team, I don't think many people anticipated being a tournament team. So this was just a great start for them. So that's the first eye-popping number. Second one, how do you say his name? John Tanji. Tanji, thank you. 41
my
points.
Gosh.
Yeah, so he played for Missouri last year, played 8 games, got hurt. Any guesses what his points per games were? Anyone?
Oh, it's got to be like 6?
7.4.
2.6 points per game last year. And again, only 8 games hurt his foot, had 41 this game. But yes, the other jarring number, 87 combined free throw attempts in this basketball game. Wisconsin was 41 of 47 for free throw line.
Oh my gosh.
This game was just insane. Arizona out-rebounded Wisconsin 52-28 in this basketball game.
And lost.
And again, Wisconsin controlled the whole game. Just a goofy box score. But what I went for Wisconsin, again, a team, us, and I think a lot of people did not really expect to be a tournament team or a French tournament team, but they're in my top 25 now. What a win for them.
Do you guys think Greg Gard was confused?
Oh, yeah.
He was probably watching the game like, this is not basketball. What are we doing?
What is this?
Hey, I'm just getting a chance to look at the box score because obviously I watched the game and Tanji was awesome. 21 for 22 from the free throw line, as you mentioned. He was great. Arizona had 24 offensive rebounds. 24 offensive rebounds.
That's insane.
Wisconsin had 2 offensive rebounds.
Well, I guess we have to foul line the whole night. You'll need all.
41 for 47. There were 63 fouls called in this game. This is one of the most dumbfounding box scores I think I've ever read. And then you go to Caleb Love's stat line. You're like, yeah, that makes sense. 6 points and on 2 for 13 shooting. Can we stop with the Caleb Love, fanaticism? The dude is a very above average player. And he peaked really quick when he was in North Carolina, and he's been good at Arizona, but he's almost entering Wade Taylor territory where if he's shooting more than 10 shots, something's wrong. And I think Arizona needs to be a little bit better in reeling him in and how many shots he's taking a game because he's just jacking up crap, and I don't think he needs to be doing it. He's not that good of a player.
You might be right, but again, I'll never say a bad word about that man. He killed the devil, so he'll forever be my good heart.
He sure did indeed. We got to remember, Wisconsin did this last year, and then they tanked hard after that great run in the non-conference. So as much love as Wisconsin deserves, as they should, we also need to remember Arizona. This is what they do, and this is kind of what Wisconsin does when they're in the non-conference. Outside of John Tanji, Max Klesmit was okay. John Blackwell's a good player. Stephen Crowell and Nolan Winter are bigs that can step out and shoot a little. I still have a lot of questions about Wisconsin. So while it is a great win, and yes, they're in my top 25 as well, I just pumped the brakes a little on Wisconsin. Arizona, I think they're a good team. I don't know if they're a great team.
And they get Duke this Friday.
Yep, that's going to be on the list of games to watch.
Duke has got 2 losses before Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
Pretty notable.
Yes, great point there, Nick. Other stories to note, other things that came out from the weekend. How about Carmelo's son committing to Syracuse, continuing the Anthony train to Syracuse, which I thought was really exciting. Obviously, Jim Boeheim's not there anymore.
On the highway at night, what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, Kai and Anthony, good player, really cool that we're able to maybe see, an Anthony guy back with the Syracuse Orange. Ace Bailey played his first game for Rutgers, had a good solid outing for the Scarlet Knights. Don't look now, but Micah Shrewsbury and Notre Dame are 3-0. And they've been playing pretty well to start the season. Now, everyone's beaten Georgetown. That was their 3rd win. Who cares? But
Robbie, all 4 power Indiana schools beat a power conference team this weekend.
How about that? Yeah, and
It'll be SMU as well.
Should mention as well, how about Xavier? My gosh, they torched Wake Forest. So Sean Miller may be developing something over there with the Musketeers. We'll talk more about IU at the end of the show. But I thought they were very impressive against South Carolina. The only Big Ten shocker maybe was Ohio State just getting curb stomped by Texas A&M. Another one of my great lock picks that we're just struggling with to start the year. Marquette had to come back. Marquette rallied and won at Maryland, which is a really good win. Florida looked good. If you want a new DJ Burns in your life, may I submit to you 6'7", 265 Marcus Johnson of Bowling Green. Look him up. He is so fun to watch, and everyone is going to be rooting for Bowling Green to make it out of the MAC and into the tournament this year because he was hitting like fall-away jumpers and like step-back threes, 6'7", 265 against Michigan State over the weekend. So that was awesome. And then maybe the other top story from the weekend, obviously St. John's beating New Mexico. Great win for father over son. During that game, towards the end, I believe the student section started chanting, "Who's your daddy?" at Richard Pitino. And then Rick's trying to like quiet him down with his hand, and they wouldn't be quiet. I thought that was great. So,
which if I was Richard, I think that's even more emasculating.
Yeah, very much so.
Turn down the crowd.
Yeah. No. Calm down. But yes, yes, you're right. What are the other results that stand out from the weekend? Nick, I want to go with you first because I think one of the more impressive results is not one that I've mentioned yet.
Just want to say one thing about the game. To talk about A&M over Ohio State. I just want to say about A&M. Their leading scorer is not Wade Hill right now.
No, it is not.
Is it Zurich Phelps? Do you know how to say his first name?
I can't remember how you say his first name, but yes, you are correct. Let me pull that name again.
No, A&M, their backcourt might be one of the best in the country. Again, great win for them. But yeah, Rob, the one I want to talk about, Boise State knocked off Clemson over the weekend.
It was impressive too.
Very impressive. They kind of control the whole game, 84-71, and we'll be in home and home, so they will go back to Dallas Sweeney's backyard next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I would shout Brownwell for doing this. Doing a home and home with Boise State, and we're a Brad Brownell pod. Okay, we've said it since the beginning. And again, a lot of people think Boise State's going to be the best team in the Mountain West this year. For them to get this win, again, we need our Mountain West boys to get wins like this. So Boise State. Between having Ashton Genty, they have a hilarious guy on their team too. Boise State, maybe the center of the college universe right now, some are saying, but also win for them. Go Broncos.
Tyson Degenhart, baby. I shouted him out on our mega preseason pod, had 20 and 11 against Clemson. Should also mention Chase Hunter, who was questionable to play in that game, put up 30 in that game against Boise State. So Chase Hunter, that Clemson team, they still got some ballers. And also the chef, Ian Shefflin, still on that team as well. They're missing a couple of dudes from that team from last year, but I still do like that Clemson team a lot. Dusty, any results that stand out from you for the last few days?
So this isn't shocking, but there's a team that's been on my radar for this weekend I want to watch. Is actually Vanderbilt.
Oh,
so they beat Jackson State by 13. They're putting up a ton of points. And coming up,
Jackson State over 13 get you going, Crab.
So their stud Edwards is last name. Hold on, Jason Edwards is averaging 17 and a half a game. And coming up, they have I believe there's Nevada at Virginia Tech, at TCU in a neutral game, all before SEC play. But I watched a little bit of them over the last 2 weeks, and just their fluidity when they play. So again, not a shocker that they beat Jackson State 94-81. Probably shouldn't give up 81 points to Jackson State, but that was a team that was kind of on my radar. Rob, you said there was a shocker over the weekend that we haven't mentioned yet. Which one were you thinking about? Wait! Can we give a quick one as I'm still talking about it?
Are you going to mention anything about Brown? Because I was going to mention Brown.
I'm not. But Nick and I together were watching yesterday how our boy Billy Gillespie, who
Tarleton, oh no,
does not look great.
No,
and his team looks worse. Baylor shattered Tarleton State yesterday, 104-41, is 56-13 at halftime.
Yeah, that was a rough one. I was going to mention Brown. Got a big win over Sacred Heart, 89-70, which is awesome. but really gave up a game against Holy Cross that they should have won. Kind of gave up some baskets towards the end, so was unfortunate for Brown. But honestly, so I will talk. Let me get into a team that I'm not sure many people are talking about. Have you guys watched any of Arizona State?
Watch that whole Grand Canyon game.
Okay.
That was an awesome game.
I will tell you, and I don't know how to say this. Arizona State might be really good, guys. And nobody is talking about Arizona State. Remember, this is Bobby Hurley's team, not Dan Hurley, Bobby Hurley's team. This Arizona State team, I mean, they were really impressive against Grand Canyon, but true freshman who was a top 10 player, Jaden Quaintance, has been solid. You got Adam Miller, who's 24 years old, who is a really good shooter. You can probably remember him from Illinois. They're a good defensive team. They rebound the heck out of the ball, and they were, for my money, probably should have beaten Gonzaga before that Grand Canyon game. If it wasn't for a late surge by Gonzaga and Khalif Battle, I mean, Arizona State would be 5-0. So if there's a team you want to keep an eye on Arizona State. They've been playing really well lately, and again, in a loaded Big 12, you never really know. And then the other result that just makes me mad. Hey, Coleman Hawkins, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I'm so glad you bought Kansas State stock.
No!
It's so perfect.
Sell all the Kansas State stock. I'm out. Completely out of Kansas State. Coleman Hawkins just fleeced Jerome Tang for $2 million because he's averaging 8 points and 5 rebounds in 4 games this year. What the heck is going on?
And we'll get to in the funnies. He's still up to his Coleman Hawkins antics.
Still
as well.
doing
wow,
it.
Averaging 8 and 5.
Still doing stupid stuff. How the heck is H.R. not playing right now for Kate State? He was so good at Samford, and he transfers in, and they can't find a place for him on the floor? Make it make sense. And Doug McDaniel's not even starting. I don't understand.
And he can play road games this year, too.
Yeah, I know. He can play all the games.
And for people who don't know, Kansas State was like top 5 in NIL money given out this offseason.
Yeah.
They paid for it. They played LSU at home and lost. And LSU, I don't know,
no.
It's like 16th in the SEC, maybe.
Maybe.
And in the lean scores game for LSU, Cam Carter, where did he go to school previously?
Kansas State.
Yeah, so just that insult to injury. So yeah, tough start for your Wildcats.
Oh, not my Wildcats. No, not my team. I'm out on Kansas State.
It's not a tough start. Just to remind you guys. Just to remind you that Brown started 1-5 last year.
Oh, great. Thanks. That makes me feel a lot better.
Down right where they won them.
By the way, Dusty, on your Vanderbilt team, you know the head coach is not Jerry Stackhouse anymore, right?
I do.
You know who the head coach is there now?
I don't.
Okay. Well, I'll let you know. It's Mark Byington, who was the head coach at James Madison last year. Remember that James Madison team that torched Michigan State to start the season?
Yep.
And they beat Wisconsin in the first round?
Beat Wisconsin first round and then ran into Jared McCain. Yeah, so
I think the Laser called that.
Yes, I think they did too. So Vanderbilt's a team maybe you keep an eye on. If Mark Byington is as good as he's making this one out to be, yeah, that's one to keep an eye on for sure. So
does James Madison get enough blame for starting the War of 1812? Like they burned down our White House.
I don't think so. They should get a lot more criticism, but they don't, unfortunately.
Shortest president though. Shout out
for sure. Let's actually talk about college basketball on this pod. We do bring up some history-related things. Quick mention on our top 25s. You can find our Week 3 top 25s on our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever that may be. I'll run through mine real quick. Remember, I had dropped Purdue all the way, I believe, to 18 in my poll last week. They're now up to 7. It might be a little too high, but, it is what it is. We all have different teams at number 1 in the country right now.
Wow.
So Dusty has Gonzaga, Nick, you have Auburn, and I have Kansas. And I'll be honest, I didn't really feel great about making Kansas number 1. So, and you can make an argument that UConn is number 1. So let's be honest and throw it out here, and let's talk through this, I should say. Who really is the best team in college basketball right now? I don't know who it is. Is it Gonzaga? Is it Auburn? Kansas hasn't looked like it. Maybe it's UConn. I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pat.
Stallings' son is a catcher for the Rockies.
Whose son?
Yeah.
Kevin Stallings.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I did not.
Stallings, I believe.
Didn't Kevin Stallings have like a softball story or something like that one time where he took his team out to the softball field and just had him throw BP at him as he just...
I mean, I remember being on an elevator with him at the SEC tournament after a tough loss, and he was taking his toupee off, and it looked like...
Yikes.
That's my Stallings story.
Love that for a Kevin Stallings story.
Shout out toupees. Bill Self, look at you.
Bill Self, baby. Well, that's not a toupee. That's more of a...
Best team in the country. I mean, I think it's hard pressed. I mean, obviously I put Gonzaga number one, and I mean that win over Baylor has to be the best win in the country right now. Correct?
It is. Yeah, it is.
I mean, maybe I'll give a second.
Maybe because I was so high on Houston. I still think Auburn basically going into Houston like they did. I think it's number one for me for best win.
That's a good point, Nick. Going into that game with the drama to go with it.
Good point. Yeah.
Horseplay.
Hashtag horseplay. Yeah, I will be honest with you guys. If it wasn't, I don't know. I'm kind of remember. I picked Kansas to win the national championship at the start of the season. So part of me is like I want them to be where they are right now. But we have not really seen Kansas at their best yet. So I'm with you guys. I think Gonzaga and Auburn have a better case. I would not rank UConn number one just because they haven't proven it yet because they haven't played anyone. That'll change quickly. The schedule will get much tougher for the Huskies. Dan Hurley's team kind of loads up to start the season with some cupcakes, but they do play Memphis coming up next Monday. They do play Baylor, Texas, Gonzaga. So they've got some tough games on the schedule coming up. So don't worry, we'll get a chance to see UConn tested. But right now it's kind of. Is UConn as good as they were last year? I don't know. Beating Lemoyne by 41 doesn't really show it to me. Alex Caravan and Liam McNeely have been very, very good for him. Aiden Mahaney has been
exciting lights.
He's been okay. But yeah, Terrace Reed has been great for them off the bench. That's a Michigan transfer who's just a ball of energy. So we'll see where UConn goes. But yeah, I'm kind of with you guys on who number one in the nation right now.
Well, Robbie, I'm with you too. I didn't feel great about having Auburn number one either. I thought it was a very tough decision.
It's tough. Yeah, very tough indeed. So yeah, not sure there really is a true number one that we can be confident in talking about right now. So, but yeah, those are our top 25s as of right now. Let me make sure that we don't have any other crazy ones. That stand out. Dusty has Miami at 15. That's probably the craziest one of them all. Nick, you've got Wisconsin all the way up at 15. So
I know I probably overshot a little bit, but I don't know.
I respect it.
Like, what do you do 3 weeks in? Like, do you try and keep your preseason things you had going to season in mind, or do you reward Wisconsin for a great win over a good team? It's a tough song to dance.
Good question. I moved Xavier up pretty high. I really thought that win over Wake Forest was very impressive. They looked really good at it. But also, we kind of got to balance, how much significance do we put on home wins in college basketball? I think ever since COVID, I feel like we underestimate home atmospheres and how much they really add to how good a team plays, and I still do that to this day. But for right now, I think we're kind of in a holding pattern with the teams that we like towards the top. I think all of our top 4 or 5 teams were kind of the same. I think maybe the biggest outlier between all of us is Tennessee. I've got Tennessee at 5. Nick has Tennessee at 12, and Dusty has Tennessee at 18. So it's kind of all over the place with the Vols. We're still learning about them as we move on. But hey, we got big games coming up this week, guys. It is a fantastic slate of college hoops. Tonight, probably by the time that you listen to this pod, North Texas at McNeese is a huge game. Cowboys have got to find a way to get going here, and the Mean Green have looked really good as of late. So keep an eye on that one. Can IU Indy cover at Iowa State? The people are asking. It's a 38.5-point line. Can they find a way to cover? We will see. Colgate, a darling to start the season. They're at NC State tonight, but I'd argue maybe the biggest game of the week. Gonzaga's at San Diego State tonight.
Yeah, San Diego State, people think this might be a down year for them, so this is going to be the first real test for them.
Real big test, and we've seen how good the Zags have played, so we'll see how they do that on the road.
And their stud Waters is still out, right?
Yes. They said he might give it a go tonight. I feel like I saw a Goodman tweet that said he might be playing. So we're going to keep an eye on that one and see if he does in fact play. So if he does, that would give San Diego State a really big boost. They kind of need that.
Yeah.
But yeah, or it was Miles Bird was the one that they were talking about. But yeah, Reese Waters is the other one. Reese Waters is the guy that.
Yes, I'm looking up right now. Yeah, you're right. Bird is the one who's questionable tonight. Reese Waters is out for seems like 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, once they get back, if you get him back, you'll be in pretty good shape. So yeah, just keep an eye on San Diego State. Tuesday games, a couple decent ones. UNC Wilmington undefeated going to Allen Fieldhouse. If Kyle Neptune loses to Penn Tuesday night, does he just automatically lose the job?
Yeah, for people who didn't see, they lost to Virginia again on Friday.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know what I truly wonder. Like, what is their expectations there? Because obviously they won 2 and 3 years, but do they view themselves still that way? Like,
are
they just going to ride this out?
It's a good question. How are we feeling about Lipscomb on Tuesday night, Kentucky boys?
It's a weird game, just first game after the big win. But I feel fine.
Dusty?
I said ass kicking.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
By the way, this is this game is a part of the BBN Invitational. I should mention.
Yeah,
you know what that is?
Called the nightly games where they play 4 random teams at home. They all it's like a round robin.
Oh,
Lipscomb will play, or at least that's what it was in years past.
Okay, that's cute.
Mm-hmm. It's actually very cute.
I know. The marquee matchup Tuesday, though, it's going to be Purdue at Marquette. That's a 9 p.m. tip-off time on FS1. That game will be in Milwaukee at Marquette. So Purdue they're going to get all the barrels on them against the Golden Eagles because Cam Jones played great against Maryland. That's a result I wanted to. Yeah, that's going to be a fun. I will be honest. I don't know if Braden's going to guard Cam Jones. It may be Miles Colvin or Jakari Harris. So that will be a really, really, really fun matchup to keep an eye on Tuesday. Coming up Wednesday, Battle of Undefeateds in Dayton. The Flyers hosting New Mexico State. This one's a great one. Illinois is at Alabama in Birmingham. That's a 9 p.m. SEC Network game. Fun one. Jerry McNamara's Siena Saints going to Xavier. Keep an eye on that one. Thursday is the start of our non-conference.
We got one more Wednesday, too.
Okay.
My boy Ty Johnson, UC Davis, plays at Grand Canyon.
Oh, that's a tasty game.
9 o'clock ESPN Plus.
Okay. I like that. Good pick.
Jake Mills.
I love that. That's great. Great idea.
Robbie, you mentioned New Mexico State Dayton. And on our rundowns, you spelled undefeated very poorly, just for the record.
Yeah, I know. I just was trying to run through it very quickly. Thank you.
Also,
just to let you know.
Vanilla State at St. Mary's. Never heard of this school.
Who?
Vanilla?
Stanislaus. Stanislaus.
Yeah.
That's a Wednesday game?
Yeah, at St. Mary's.
Oh, it's Stanislaus State.
Oh, wow. Okay. Would you graduate from there?
No, the only reason why I know that is there was a school on the Mississippi coast that I used to cover, and it was called St. Stanislaus. So that's why, yeah. By the way, I don't know if you noticed this, but if you tried to buy tickets to the Gonzaga Long Beach State game Wednesday night, the tickets are $367.
67.
That's the lowest. That's wild.
Well, if you want
that place is awesome.
As low as $4.
Yeah, I mean you can find seats there for sure.
And by the way, San Diego State, one of the most underrated home atmospheres.
Viejas Arena is awesome. Yes, couldn't agree more. Great atmosphere. Thursday we start non-conference tournaments in Charleston, Dayton Beach, Myrtle Beach, Nacogdoches, Bahamas, Brooklyn, all sorts of other places. Maybe the best game of the bunch. Well, there's 2 really good games on Thursday. Oregon's at Oregon State, Civil War in hoops, but maybe the best one off the radar is Memphis at San Francisco. That's a battle of undefeated teams. And I mean, Dusty's Dons are 4-0.
I thought Dusty was going to say something.
Yeah, Dusty. What were you saying?
Line.
That was it.
Oh, okay, good. Just making sure we're on the same page there. Oh, is this okay? I think I identified the bad XLR. I identified the bad XLR cord. It's this one. Every time I touch it, it ruins. It ruins the sound. So okay. Anyway, Friday games. The Greenbrier games. Pitt, LSU, Wisconsin, UCF, Colgate, Harvard. They're going to go to study tables to celebrate after whoever wins that game. Nebraska's at Creighton. Utah State at Iowa will be in Kansas City. Mississippi State at SMU. You obviously mentioned Duke at Arizona will be the marquee game on Friday. Saturday, Marquette, Georgia in the Bahamas. And, should mention another Friday game. St. Louis, Wichita State could be tasty. And then Sunday, if Kyle Neptune still has a job, Villanova goes to Maryland. So we'll see where that goes. Any other games I'm missing, guys?
No, I think you hit everyone. Yeah,
Okay.
and I just want to reemphasize Purdue Marquette. I'm so excited for.
Yeah.
And by the way, shout for both of them. They both played a big game on Friday to turn around and play this kind of game on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
And Nick, also, your VCU Rams play Seton Hall to start the Charleston Classic. So
My 25th ranked VCU Rams.
that's right, indeed. Also, we get Baylor St. John's that night as well in the Bahamas. So that'll be a good one too. We'll see.
I saw something earlier. I'm trying to find it. I think our underperforming Villanova squad, don't they play at Maryland this weekend?
That's on Sunday. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, you said straight.
Yeah.
Oh, I keep talking about how I think they're 1-3, but UMass is kind of a scary team. They're 1-3, unfortunately. They host Florida State on Sunday.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, actually, there's another big game for this podcast.
So it's a neutral game.
Okay.
Pacers Rockets on Wednesday, boys.
Oh,
yeah.
baby.
For people who don't know, Dusty's a big Rockets fan, so there's a little pod battle on Wednesday.
That will be that'll be a good one for sure. Both teams have coming off a win, if I'm not mistaken.
4-0 Sunday for the boys.
For sure. Fantastic Sunday. All right. We got to be honest and be upfront. Somehow Nick has turned into a lock expert. Year 2 Nick is a thing. The man has now picked 2 straight locks, and he's nailed them. St. John's covered against New Mexico. Meanwhile, Ohio State looked like absolute booty cheeks at Texas A&M and did not cover. And then IU Indy squandered a late one against Eastern Michigan and did not win it over the Eagles. That was Dusty's. So,
hey, Dusty and Robby, who's your daddy? Bam, 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 bam.
By the way, Nick is still 4-6 overall. That's weird.
Wait, did I go 2-6 last year?
Yeah, you went 2-6 last year. Or no, wait, hold on, 4-7. 4-7. You were 2-7 last year. My fault.
What do you mean? So we started tonight. It said 3-6. Now I'm 4-7. Something's fishy here. That's all
right.
I got.
I'm gonna have to do the numbers again. But anyway, you still have a losing record. That's all I
remember. You have to
remember.
wear a turkey costume.
No, we're not doing that.
Oh gosh.
That was a one-time thing. We're not bringing that. No, we'll keep the turkeys going. All right. So locks of the week or weekend. We'll come back and do a weekend pod next Sunday. By the way, we got a big plan that we're going to do a Sunday show, which we're excited for. I've got to find Will Wade. You hold my life in your hands. Find a way to cover the -4.5. That's my lock of the week is tonight. McNeese at home against North Texas, -4.5. Lock it in. Cowboys need a home win, and they always play tough at home. And North Texas has been playing really well, so I like McNeese over North Texas -4.5. Nick?
Again, 2-0 MBD.
Oh, thanks.
But Robbie, one of my favorite trends in sports is when something like everyone's like, again, Purdue Marquette, 2 great offensive teams. They both scored Marquette's high 70s, Purdue's high 80s this past night. So what do you assume? Oh, over, hammer the over. No. That's what Vegas wants you to do.
Ooh.
Take the under, Purdue Marquette. You're welcome.
The under total for Purdue and Marquette, which I have not seen what the total is yet, but either way, you will know by tomorrow if you're listening to this on Tuesday. Dusty, your lock of the week is?
As a supporter of our troops, which last time I bet against the troops, and it didn't work out for me. Sorry, Air Force.
Whoops.
I am going to take VMI plus 34.5 at Pitt tonight.
Oh, my God. 34.5. VMI's 4-1.
Yeah.
Oh,
What are they called?
I like they're the Keydets, by the way.
Thank you, Key Dead.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like that.
And their leading scorer is Augustinus Pugilus. He averages 21 a game. I'm going to go
Nailed
over
it.
20 points for him tonight.
Oh, wow. Oh, is this a double
no
lock?
A double down.
No
Double
sportsbook offers that.
Double lock tonight for Dusty. He's really going to get off the schneid. So he has VMI plus 34.5. Is that correct?
That's what ESPN's telling me.
All right, plus 34.5.
Would you suggest sprinkling ML for VMI? Sprinkle?
If VMI wins money line, I will do the costume.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
I'll do it.
Run it. VMI is plus 2,000, by the way. Money line.
Give responsibly.
Always. All right, those are our locks of the week. Here's hoping that we will go 3. I mean, they're locks. They're supposed to work, but I mean, again.
Yeah.
I mean, betting's very easy. Gambling's easy.
That's why you locksmith, right?
Wow, I like that. Do it one more time. All right, so those are our locks of the week. Dusty and I have ours tonight, and then Nick coming up tomorrow. We will review those when we get on the pod coming up next Sunday. All right.
By the way, shout to me. Your guys are tonight. I'm for the people. I give you a day to prepare for it.
No.
If you don't listen to the pod in time.
No, we show up and we take the test. There's no studying here.
Yeah, head to the book right now, fans.
Yeah. By the way, that VMI Pitt line started off Pitt minus 29.5. It's gone up 5 points since it opened.
Oh, no.
My guy, Augustinus, should probably... Well, hopefully that's not the case.
We'll see what happens. All right. This is a time that we will listen in to our viewer questions. Now, we got a viewer question in from our a good friend of the pod, Gabe. Gabe wanted to talk a little bit about a team from Bloomington, Indiana. So we're going to play the question for 40 seconds, and then I'm going to come on and review it, and we'll talk to Dusty and Nick about it and see what they have to say.
Hey, Gabe Marone here, coming in from Illinois. Go Bears. But contrary to what you'd believe, I'm actually a lifelong IU fan, and I just finished watching the South Carolina IU game, and I have a question about how they finished that game, because I'm a bit worried. They struggled to put South Carolina away, and I'm just curious if you guys believe that this could be a problem moving forward, or if the IU team just needs to gel because they have some transfers at the guard position, and Omar transferred over as well. Also, Robby, you suck.
Thanks, Gabe. So, Gabe wanted to talk about how IU closed the game against South Carolina, and then had a parting shot from me saying, "Robby, you suck" at the end. Gabe, you haven't been alive to watch IU win a national championship, so shut up. We move on from there. But
Or a Final Four.
or a Final Four, yeah, for a Final Four for that matter either. So at least I've been alive for one of those. But I thought actually IU closed the game pretty strong overall. I know they let the game get to 8, and this is not this isn't South Carolina of last year where they were their 6th seed and they were really, really good. Colin Murray Boyles did not play well against the Hoosiers, and that's also a credit to how good Malik Renew was. But overall, I actually thought IU closed the game and played pretty well for the most part. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I believe they ended the game on an 8-0 run or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not insurmountable per se. But yeah, I thought they're saying South Carolina never got within, I think the closest they got late was, I'm looking at it right now.
I think it was 8. I think 8 was the closest, yeah.
19 left. So yeah, I mean, I thought they did just fine. I mean, Miles Rice played really well, 23 from him. By the way, IU, I know it's not exactly the question, 8 of 17 from 3.
If they can get that, that's a good sign going forward, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'll give it a B+, close.
I'm fair with that, yeah. I think going forward, they do need to be above 40% from 3. The fact that Luke Goody still really hasn't gotten going from 3 for them is a bit of a concern. Bryson Tucker played a little better. Trey Galloway was really good off the bench for him. As you mentioned, Miles Rice, I think that was his best game as a player for the Hoosiers so far. He was excellent. Umar Ballo had 6 blocks, which was really impressive. 7 points, 13 rebounds, 6 blocks. That's exactly what you're looking for. And he's shooting above 50% from the free throw line. So that $1.5 million has gone into his free throw percentage going up 5%, which is great. Very excited about that. But this is me being facetious. I thought IU looked really good. I thought they played well. I will say the best player that has been on the floor for them so far has been Mackenzie Mbako. He's been excellent to start the season. The only problem is the guy who's on the sideline for IU. And I think every Hoosiers fan will say the same thing, is this team is uber talented, probably one of the more talented teams they've had in the last couple of years. But Mike Woodson's still the head coach. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to hold this team and program back. Just from my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before, the same things you said. I like the talent, does it fit, and can the coach figure it out? And unfortunately for IU, they do play at Louisville in 2 games. Other than that, we won't find out too much about them until, I don't even know, January, honestly.
It's going to be a bit, yeah. So that the Louisville game is in Atlantis. I know that. So it's so they'll play them in a neutral site, and I can't remember who else is at Atlantis.
We found Atlantis?
We did.
That's the Lost City.
We've been looking for this entire time, and it's been right in front of our eyes. Yeah, IU just does not have a very tough schedule. But I mean, I think they do that on purpose, especially in the non-conference. But we will definitely learn a little bit more about them when they go to the Atlantis and play in that tournament. So, all right. So again, thanks again, Gabe, for the question. You can send in your viewer questions to be featured on the show. It is speakpipe.com/D1andDonePod. We appreciate Gabe chiming in, giving us some time to talk about the Hoosiers.
There's a chance of being in studio in a couple weeks.
Oh, okay. Nick, it's your time to shine, my friend. It is the favorite time of the year, or favorite time of the show. It's Nick's Funnies of the Week. Nick, this is you always seem to come up with something fun, different, interesting. But I mean, last week we knew what it was going to be, but what is it going to be this? What is it going to be this week?
Yes, Robbie. We have a couple nominees. I just want to shout real quick again. We already mentioned Coleman Hawkins. Again, in his natural awful performance on the court, he got his own horseplay on the court. He nearly started a brawl twice with Cam Carter in that game.
Yep.
So shout to Coleman Hawkins for being Coleman Hawkins.
Don't change,
Nice
Coleman.
job.
Don't change.
The other one we've already mentioned, the chant at St. John's, New Mexico, worth noting. Just good stuff. And again, Rick Pitino telling him to stop. I'd be so mad if I was Richard. And they lost the game.
And
Awful day. They had a long flight home. Shout out to him. I do want to give a bonus one for cross-sport college football. I don't know if you guys saw Syracuse's football coach. Do you want to see this by chance?
No.
He admitted to us in a press conference that after when his team loses football games, he does not shower.
Oh, I did see this, yes.
He said, and I quote, "I don't deserve soap." So God bless him and his family after tough defeat.
Seriously.
For Mr. Brian Brown.
Only winners get to wash off the stench of winning, I guess.
And finally, the funny of the week. I don't even follow this. San Jose State basketball had a game this week. They were not the story, though. The story was a Bay. This is the description of this man. A Bay Area sports superfan. His name is Crazy George with a K. Crazy George has a bald with a mullet. He has a San Jose State, I'm going to call it it looks like a team issue, warm-up. So shout to him. The reason he's really funny, there's nothing funny about being a super fan, but this fact is funny. He invented the wave.
Really?
Crazy George, Bay Area sports superfan, invented the wave, was what they told us on the telecast. So I did not know we had that documented, that someone invented the wave. It's kind of like how Dusty Baker invented the high five, which is always another hilarious one.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't know that, Robbie? Yeah. Dusty Baker, he played for the Dodgers.
Guys, do you know Crazy George has a Wikipedia page?
What?
Search
I didn't do.
Crazy George with a K has a Wikipedia page. So George Henderson, better known as Crazy George, is an American professional cheerleader who created the wave.
This guy's even funnier than I thought. This guy's amazing. And he looks like, I don't want to say this, kind of looks like a lunatic in some of these photos. But I love it. He's a fanatic. So shout out Crazy George for listening to this. Come on the pod. You're welcome anytime.
Oh my gosh, it would be great if we could get crazy. I mean, we've had a mention of Crazy George. Who was last week that we talked about that we just couldn't? Dusty.
We've had horseplay.
Horseplay. Who was Dick Harp? We got to mention Dick Harp on the show last time out.
Margin Sergeant Dick Harp.
Gosh. Oh, boy. Yeah. All right. Well, we got to go find Crazy George and see if we can get him on the pod.
He invented the wave.
I didn't even know that started with that originated with a person. I thought that just happened organically over time.
Why? But he's that much of a force. So shout Crazy George.
Incredible.
Right. I guess stay crazy. I guess
stay crazy, my friends. Mm-hmm. All right, time to gather around the campfire. Dusty, it's story time for you. We get a chance to hear a great memory from Dusty from his time where he was in Division I college basketball. So, Dusty, give us a good story to finish it up.
This one is post-playing that Nick and I kind of talked about over the weekend, actually, which is absurd and shows the perks that you get when people love college sports way too much. So it's probably 2000, I'm going to say 14, so let's say 10 years ago. I was at a wedding for a friend from Kentucky, southern Kentucky, down in, I'm spacing on the city, but southern Kentucky. I'm driving back on a Sunday, actually going to Nick and I's brother's Jake's basketball game on Sunday. And I'm speeding. I got a 73 and a 55. So, not good. Cop pulls me over. Said, this is technically reckless driving. Tell me why I shouldn't take you into jail right now. And I just simply said, I'm officer, I'm sorry. I don't have an excuse. There's no one else on the road. I'm trying to get home to get to my brother's basketball game, which was a lie because I did. So he goes to his car and comes back and he says, "Good luck to your brother. But here's your ticket. You need to appear in court on July, whatever." So I get it, and it's when my family and I go to our annual Hilton Head trip. And so I said to the officer, I lied again, which is good because I'm not a good liar. So I pulled two off in about 2 minutes. I said, "Sir, I'm on a work trip in South Carolina. AK, I'm going to be drinking margaritas on the beach in Hilton Head. That weekend, for the week I cannot make it. Drink responsibly, kids." And he comes back and says, "That's not my problem. That's yours." Gives me the ticket and leaves.
Oh.
So, yeah. So I go home and I'm supposed to appear in court. Basically, I would have to fly from Hilton Head to that county, Boone County, Kentucky, and I appear in court to fight it. And there's no way I can fight it when you're going, almost 30 over the speed limit. So I called the courthouse, and this angel of a lady was the secretary to the attorney that I was trying to hire. And I'll never forget my late grandpa, who actually is an IU fan. Him and I were trying to sign the paperwork and send it in because I didn't want to tell my parents about this. So the point of the story is I get a call from them about a week later because I was trying to get the court date moved is all I was trying to do. And I get a call from this lady about 2 weeks later, and she goes, "So we did some research. Are you the Dusty Mills that played at Kentucky?"
What?
And I said, "Yes, I am." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, my boss is a huge fan of yours. We're just going to put this down to 5 miles over the speed limit and just send us a check for $50 and it's over with."
Wow.
There you go.
Once again, a pretty blonde gets out of a speeding ticket.
Of course. Blue eyes too.
If that lovely lady's listening to this, hopefully the statute of limitations has exhausted and you didn't help her lose her job.
We're all going to jail now.
Yeah.
But yes, and I just remember I was just floored. I was like, oh my gosh, like how I was irrelevant to that team. Like how the hell do you guys care that much? But there you go. The perks.
I'd never heard that story till Sunday. That's crazy.
And now I was done. Do that.
I talked myself out of a ticket once, and it was because I worked at the TV station. So
Oh, wow.
Wait, can we hear that?
I was going too fast onto an on-ramp, and a police officer pulled me over, and I showed him my ID, and he's like, "You're on the sports, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yes, sir, I am." Take care. Have a good night.
I love that.
Look at our famous celebrities on his pod.
That was so cool. That was the one time where I really felt like I was legitimately well known and famous. Ever since then, it just went downhill. But like that moment, it was awesome. So yeah, I guess we could do a Robby story time too with famous people that I've interacted with over. No, that's not. No one wants to hear that. But there you go. There's Dusty's story time, and that was a good one.
Okay. Well, you ready for my shout for the week?
What's your shout out of the week, Dusty? Wrap it up for us.
Got one too.
Battle Peterson.
What?
Battle Peterson.
What is that?
Go on.
He was the coach at Utah when they won the national title when they beat Dartmouth in 1944.
Oh.
What's his name? Hold on. What is his name again?
Vadla. Vadal Peterson.
I'm looking this guy up.
So my favorite part about him
Probably Vidal, but yeah, sure.
Vidal, sorry. Did you guys know that Utah, which used to play in the Mountain States Conference, had 1 year of independence? And that one year they won the national title and went to the NIT quarterfinals.
So why doesn't Utah just needs to go back to being independent then? If that was their most successful year of all time, come on.
Mm-hmm.
He won 5 Mountain State Conference championships.
Wow.
Also, is 1-3 as the baseball coach.
Again, all these coaches from back in the day that coached multiple sports. It's incredible that they did that.
Yeah, he died in Salt Lake.
Anything else we need to know about Vidal Peterson or Vadal or Vaudel?
Now look at Wikipedia. It's kind of a loser. Not much information about him.
Okay, the man has passed. You can't call someone like that a loser. That's disrespectful.
The statute of limitations are passed, right?
Oh, stop it!
Too soon.
The year they won.
When I died, people don't call me a loser. So the least I could do is reciprocate, get out ahead of it.
Jeez.
Wait, he also did actually win the NIT in 47.
He did. That's right.
The year before they won the national title, they went 1-7. No, 1-7 conference, like 10-12 overall.
That's still not good.
No.
Still pretty impressive. So, yeah, Utah, the 1944 national champions, they defeated Dartmouth in that national championship game, by the way. Pretty crazy.
Again,
can I give a shout out to Charleston and FAU for playing maybe the game of the year on Friday?
That was going to be my shout out. Ante Berzovic, baby. Wow.
And shout out the guy who had 39 for calls Antez.
I literally just said it, Ante Berzovic.
Oh, you did just say that.
Yes. That's my guy. That's my guy right there.
Awesome game. Yeah, Robbie. Sorry I took that from you.
No, you're fine. Go for it.
Never mind. Nope.
You can say it. Go for it. No?
I'm good, Robbie.
You're good? Okay.
Good.
All right. I'm going to end the show on an anti-shout-out. This is an anti-shout-out to Dusty's Utah team that he talked about so much. Utah cost me $75 because they couldn't foul one freaking Mississippi State player in the last 7 seconds of their game, so they covered, and I lost money. Unbelievable, Utah. You had 8 seconds to just foul a guy, and you couldn't do it. So instead, Utah covers the 5.5, and they lost by 5. Dang it, man.
Have we looked into this at all? Maybe Utah, maybe their coach, something Smith, knew the spread. Maybe he knew it.
You know what? Vidal Peterson would not have let that happen because that man was a saint.
He was a Ute.
For the Utes, that's right. Unbelievable. So I will hold that against Utah from here on out that they couldn't just get a one measly foul in 8 seconds and they just whatever. Anyway.
Well, can I say something more sad about Utah?
It's a dry state.
I've had issues there.
Mm-hmm.
1947 NIT championship team. Wataru Masaka played for them. He played for the Knicks. He was the first person of color to play in modern professional basketball.
Wow. Wataru Masaka, yeah.
And the MVP of that tournament was Vern Gardner.
They beat Kentucky 49-45 in the championship. Wow.
Led by Ralph Beard. Speaking of rigged, yes, because he got in trouble for a payment scandal.
You're right. It actually was rigged. Nice job. Yeah.
No kidding. Well,
Ralph.
You know what? You learn something new every day, and that is what we're here to do, to help you learn not only about college basketball, but a little bit of history in the process.
And Robbie's losings and his finances.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, James Madison does not get enough slack for starting War of 1812, in which we got our asses kicked. Oh, sorry. Should have said that word.
It's fine. We can clear that one. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the D1 and Done Pod. We are going to be together once again, back in the loving embraces of each other, coming up next Sunday, when we will be potting about what hopefully will be another great week of college basketball. So, for Nick Mills, Dusty Mills, I'm Robbie Donahoe. Thanks for listening to this episode of the D1 and Done Pod, and we'll see you next time.
So what morning?
Feast week coming up, boys.
Feast week, baby. Bring back Bracket Busters.
Yeah. And the 24-hour opening tip-off marathon.
Bring that back, too, while we're at it.